This collection is just growing larger and larger in size. And to quote Jaws, "You're going to ignore this problem until it swims up and bites you on the ass." No, wait, that's not the quote I meant. "We're going to need a bigger boat." That's the quote. Hello Marvel Legends, it's your old pal the Duke of Banterbury, DG here, and it has been a busy month in the bunker. We got a lot of new figures. A lot of you want to know where I put them. So let's find out. But before we do, I just made a new Discord because that's a thing that people do. So there is a link to the Discord in the description below. Also, if you like this video, like, share, subscribe. If you want to throw a few shekels my way, go to patreon.com/display_model-behavior. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, then you can do at displaying_model_behavior. Whew, all right. Let's do this. Okay, so let's do this. Starting out with classic Spider-Man, with of course Stan the Man Lee in there as well. I'm not an MCU collector, but you gotta have Stan. The beautiful retro Goblin with my little Kit Bash finger blast on there and the Goblin glider jet coming out the back. Gorgeous retro Kingpin. Jonah, who's going to be replaced with the new one pretty soon. Coming across, we have the Walgreens Punisher. I was so pleased to get this guy on the Punisher Rider's bike. Machine Man is now paired up with Jocasta, so you can see the first sort of newest figure on the shelf there. And of course, the Avengers ranks, the classic Avengers, are just growing in leaps and bounds over here. We've got the gorgeous maybe figure of the year in War Machine there. Ant-Man crouching down, an old school figure in Yellow Jacket over here. Beautiful Spider-Woman there. We got the Black Panther vintage, well not vintage cap, 80th cap, and a new figure as well in Falcon. I love Falcon. He just looks so great soaring out of the corner there. Quicksilver, Vision, along with the Wasp over there. I'm really loving this Avengers section over here. So now we go back past vintage Spidey, but we got on the other side. We've got the new Mysterio, who looks gorgeous. We got Six-Arm Spider-Man, who kind of pairs up with Morbius, and we've got Man-Thing, another new addition, who again goes well with Joe Fix-It Hulk, Morbius, and Ghost Rider. So you got kind of a supernatural element here, and we got the classic old-fashioned yellow and red Daredevil, who hopefully will be replaced with a red one soon, and then classic Fantastic Four. I cannot wait for a potential Fantastic Four wave to come out. We got Walgreens Thanos, who replaced the Select Thanos, who himself may be replaced by the vintage, retro-looking Thanos, who looks amazing. We've got Super Skrull, and we got Super Skrull Classic, El Super Skrull Classico. Thundra, who I just kind of hide in the back there. She ain't hurting no one. And there is Kang as well. Whew! And that, ladles and jelly spoons, is my top shelf. Now we're getting quite chronological with a specific Spider-Man sort of slant. So we've got the 70s and 80s here. So this is kind of slightly street level. Well, it was street level, grim and gritty 80s, but then I got myself a couple of Iron Men, you see. And I can't put the Iron Men sort of with the Avengers. I've already got the Iron Man there, but there is a classic black costume Iron Man 2020 story, so they pair up nicely. And Silver Centurion Iron Man is kind of from this sort of time frame, so they all work pretty well together. And going across, we move into the 90s. Oh, the beloved 90s. And again, we got a new figure here, Thunderstrike. I mean, come on. Who's more 90s than Thunderstrike? Then we got Silver Sable's Wild Pack here, along with Puma, who I think was in the Wild Pack at some point. Ooh, look at that. We got a couple of men down. The New Warriors. New Warriors are falling. I've got to fix them. The New Warriors can stand up for themselves again. Now here we got the Black Widow with Cap and brown costume Wolverine to recreate that classic Uncanny X-Men cover. And we got Wendigo, who's a little out of place, arguably, but then again, if it's the early 90s, he goes with the Todd McFarlane Wolverine Spider-Man stories. Cosmic Spider-Man, of course, is about as 90s as it gets, and that is just the start of the 90s, because now we go into the mid-90s with clones and symbiotes galore. Got the gorgeous new Morbius there, Kit Bash Cletus Cassidy, beautiful custom cane. We got the Demo Goblin Bath, who pairs up beautifully with Doppelganger. Those two are always together in the comics. Daredevil and Typhoid Mary. We got the Life Foundation symbiotes, who are finally coming together, and the fantastic Carnage as well. This might be, along with Spidey 2099, this might be my favorite shelf right here. But that's not all for the 90s, cause we also have things falling off and scaring Piglet. I'm sorry, Piggy. All right, we have the, what do we got? Late 90s, early 2000s shelf. So late 90s, we have Wolverine with his bone claws. We have Ben Reilly transitioning back to Peter Parker with the Green Goblin there, kind of ruining it for everyone. Mysterio played a big role in the early Ben Reilly stories. We've got the Savage Hulk, who was around a lot at this time. I mean, the Hulk's always a constant presence. Onslaught, of course. I was tempted to put him just with the X-Men, but I kind of like him encompassing this late 90s era of Marvel. And of course, in the wake of Onslaught, we have the Thunderbolts coming into prominence. Need to get the rest of those figures. We got Deadpool just hiding in the back there, because Ed McGuinness's series was coming back at that time. Got Captain Marvel hiding there, or Genisville, if you will. And of course, White Rabbit, she had a lot of stories with Peter when he came back to being Spider-Man. Electro, I'm tempted to put X-Man here, because X-Man and Spider-Man had a team up against Electro. And obviously, of course, right at the front, we have the start of Ultimate Marvel. Now, going into the mid-2000s. Mid-2000s, it's all about the New Avengers and the Thunderbolts. More the Thunderbolts on this shelf, obviously. So, of course, we've got, first of all, House of M Spider-Man. He doesn't really have anywhere else to go, but he's from this era of comics at least. Norman and his attack dogs in the Thunderbolts there. Toy Biz Dakin still fitting in pretty well there. And Bucky, I was torn where to put Bucky, but he fits quite well because he comes back into the comics in the early to mid 2000s and then transitions into Bucky Cap. And of course, we've got the remaining Osborn Thunderbolts here. I love Radioactive Man. He's such a bright, colourful, fun figure. And eventually, Luke Cage takes over the Thunderbolts. They become more heroic, and Juggernaut serves some time there. With Jewel, Jessica Jones, I never really knew where to put her because this is her when her, sort of back in the day, so not during this era, but you got to pair her up with Luke Cage, and it'd be silly not to. And that is my Thunderbolt shelf. And now, we go more into the 2010s. We got the 2010s here with the beautiful big-time Spider-Man. And of course, that includes the Doc Ock taking over as Superior Spider-Man. We've got Agent Venom plays some huge roles. So we got like the Agent Venom section here with the fantastic Toxin Deluxe figure. Phil Urich Hobgoblin, and of course we have the Superior Foes of Spider-Man as well. We got the Ends of the Earth armored suit there, and Red Hulk as well. I was always tempted to put all the Red Hulk Thunderbolts together, but I kind of like to do them more sort of chronologically throughout the ages rather than bunching them all up. Right, now then, we're getting towards the end of the Spider-Man chronology here. So we have all new, all different Spider-Man with Mockingbird there, because they were kind of an item at the time. And of course he had his run-ins with Iron Man as well, so they pair nicely, and the modern Fantastic Four. Kingpin had the Shadowland story going on at the time. Superior Spider-Man transitioned into Superior Octopus. We had Kraven, or the son of Kraven. He could pose as either one of those there. And we got Gwenpool, who doesn't really fit in with Spider-Man chronology all that much, but she's a fun figure who came out around this time. And of course we have the Go Down Swinging Red Goblin group here. And finally, for my chronological Spider-Man shelves, we have our most recent additions. So it makes sense for all the symbiotes to go together, because even though these might not be directly from the comics, these do harken back to all the designs that we had during the Poison story arc. There were Poison stories with Venom and the X-Men, and a lot of stories tying in together. So they all fit together, as does the fantastic Venom Pool, who's a bit of a fish out of water as far as, comics chronology goes, but I will happily have him here. Then speaking of a fish out of water, we've got Movie Venom, who still looks pretty cool, so he's fine there. And now we have what is becoming my Absolute Carnage section. So I was always wondering where to put my deluxe Venom. I think he goes quite well here because we have Absolute Carnage. Then Misty Knight and Iron Fist played a big part in Absolute Carnage. They were kind of like recreating the teams from Maximum Carnage. And Venom is just iconic, and he's playing a bigger and bigger role. So, you know, with the Black King storyline coming in, I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of him in the future. That's not all though, because behind Piglet we have our Cosmic Shelf. So we have all the wonderful cosmic characters. Select Thanos has found a new home next to Cosmic Ghost Rider. And yeah, we've got Better Ray Bill at the back there. Tempted to put him with Thunderstrike, make kind of a Thor corpse kind of thing. And then we go on down to what I have to admit, is my miscellaneous shelf. The Island of Misfit Toys. We have Jane Foster with the wrong hammer and no cape. We have the random white suit Deadpool, who at least pairs with Sheikla, but not much else. Union Jack is kind of a man out of time, because I don't really have anyone else from his era, unless I get another Human Torch, maybe, and I compare them with Captain America. Grey She-Hulk, I would need more modern Avengers to put her with, really. Brother Voodoo, I'm tempted to put him next to Swamp Thing. No, Swamp Thing, what am I saying? Man Thing. And of course, Shang-Chi as well. I could probably find a more reasonable home for Shang-Chi. And this is a fun shelf. This is the Legion of Losers. I did my top 10 D-list villains a while ago, and I can make a whole new list with just these guys. Such a fun, random, ridiculous bunch. We got the Serpent Society, we got Eel there, Hydro Man, Grey Gargoyle. This is a fun shelf. Now then, we're kind of going back to Spider-Man chronology with the Spider-Verse. So really I should have incorporated these into my Spider-Man timeline, but they're in a separate cabinet, so I tend to forget, that they do actually slip in there, probably, around the all new, all different kind of era. But we have our wonderful Spider-Verse selection there, which I'm really happy with, but come on Hasbro, give us a new Doc Ock. The only ones I'm missing from here are Ultimate Spider-Girl and Yellow and Red Spider-Woman. And finally, at least, not finally at all actually, we haven't even got onto the mutants yet. But before then, we have our villains shelf. They're more of the heavy hitter villains as opposed to the Legion of Losers. These guys are more A-list type there. I mean, Rhino maybe not A-list, but come on, it's a mixture of figures. I love Taskmaster and Black Ant as a team of guys. They're a lot of fun. Zemo just looks fantastic, the leader. Really good bunch of guys here with, of course, the Dormammu buff in the back there. Right, let's take it on home with the X shelf. So first of all, Old Man Logan and Hawkeye. Love these guys together. We got a few Reavers here, slightly kit bashed. Caliban, Sauron, Omega Red. So we're getting more into the Department H kind of section here with Omega Red, Wolverine in his cryo tube, Maverick, Deadpool. And we're coming across a few more villains here, up to the actual 90s X-Men themselves. But we're going to skip over these guys. We're going to meet them in the middle so we can finish on a strong note. We have Age of Apocalypse, which haven't had any new members since my last video, but it's always good to revisit these guys because they look so pretty. And finally, we go into, I think, the last new addition, which is Nimrod, looking so cool. I love this big, beautiful guy. And then we can step across and finish with a big team shot of the 90s X-Men. And that is my collection as of, well, right this minute.